G'day, Mick. How are you?
Andy, very well, thank you.
Thanks for coming on. It's been a really good 3 weeks for the footy club. Now you run into Fremantle this Saturday night at Etihad Stadium. What sort of challenge does this Fremantle side pose to the Carlton footy team this weekend?
Well, Andy, all clubs pose a challenge. The last 3 weeks have been good because there've been a W at the end of them, but I reckon we've had a pretty good year. We've had a really good developing year. We've had one real bad game, a stinker from coming back off Sydney on a very, very wet track and just didn't get our act together. In fact, we did until quarter time. So overall, the level of commitment by the players to engage in a campaign of getting the structures right and going forward and being competitive and getting through a few of the hoodoos, if you like, have been very encouraging. So the last 3 weeks have just been, as I say, a good victory over some good sides. And Fremantle have strangled sides right through the year. They've lost a few games and they've won most of them by a fantastic game structure that they've all stuck to. So that's the challenge. And one of the things that I've really noticed with these lads, they are right up for a challenge. They enjoy something that's different, and we go in with different strategies every week, and I think they look forward to those sort of things.
I reckon they showed a lot of character in that win against Gold Coast at the weekend too, Mick.
Well, Jimmy, I guess going up there, and last year that's where they got beaten badly by. Actually, I don't think it was overly badly. It was just bad kicking that ended up costing Carlton. But I thought we had the game for most of the night. We just didn't put them away. But I enjoy Guy McKenna, not as only as a coach, but as a young bloke. And I can see what he's trying to do with that group. And it was so important that players who do dominate for them were not allowed to take control of the game. And I thought our players did pretty well. Eddie Curnow was very good. I thought Bryce Gibbs, Andrew Carazzo, and those players who've had a lot of work to do, they did their job to the latter, and that does help then players like Judd and Murphy and these other players, sort of win a bit of the footy.
Mick, it's been listed that the Waite will return maybe in another week's time from that injury. Henderson currently is playing in the forward line. In your thinking, do you have both those guys playing in the forward line when Waite returns?
Well, they can, Tim, but I'm also being told, and I know this from going back a long time, is that Jared has played a lot of football in the back line. I'm reluctant to say that they both will play together in the forward line because I think that you've still got to have that structure where you can still have a ruckman on the ground, and then when your lead ruckman, if you like, spends a couple of minutes in the forward line and goes to the bench, you've still got to have a ruckman. And Jared nor Lockie, either of these blokes are ruckman. So the structure will change. And sometimes when things work, and you get a bit reluctant to actually change up. So I've got to look at each side as it comes on a week-to-week basis and find out whether we can actually change that in effect. That still gives us the luxury of having two ruckmen and one that can play forward. So there's a little bit of work to be done with those players playing together.
Good morning, Mick. It's Andrew Gaze here. As you look forward, are you confident that you'll be able to get the list that you're looking for in this office? You've inherited this list. Is it exactly what you need? Are you confident you'll be able to get what you want for next season?
Andrew, we'll do what most clubs do. When you're a club trying to get to the top of the ladder, and let's face it, if you're not in it to get to the top, you're not in it, you shouldn't be in it. We know under the rules of engagement, you have 3 or 4 sources how to get players. So you can trade for players, you can get free agent players, you go to the draft, and you might be able to bring in people from outside the draft, i.e. Irishmen, New Zealanders, whatever. So we'll be going through that process, and our list will be cut. How deep is still being debated. Our reserve side on the weekend had another very good win, and they're in the 8. So what we're going to do is weigh up what can take us forward. Do we release players to go forward? And that will be probably the case. How many? Still unknown. But we'll be attacking the 4 sources of how to bring players into our football club. And the primary one, of course, will be the draft. We'll be going to the draft and hitting that pretty hard. And free agency, free agency is a bit of luck because, they all put their name up, but by the end of the year, most of them sign up. So, we're saying that may take place, may not take place. But the outside system is the most interesting one. I've seen players, I'd like to get hold of a few of those New South Welshmen or Queenslanders that are bottled up in that system where they're able to lock them away. So, maybe one of those might spit out. And of course, and I think it's a tried and proven record, is if you look at what other sides cut, one man's rubbish is another man's treasure. So we've got to look at and see whether someone there can fit into our. I'm never opposed to giving people second and third chances, because I just think that when that takes place, you get someone who's pretty hungry. I think Lee Brown's a classic case. He's the third time with the Fremantle and North Melbourne and come to us. I go way back to Mark Callett, Bruce DeBaruzal, Lally Bambit, right back to Footscray. And they're all very, very good footballers.
Mick, let's hope you can find a heap of treasure in all of it, mate. We appreciate you joining us on the show. Good luck on the weekend.